Okay. Hold that there. Hold up. And it's not gonna be something like when we talk, like I'm not gonna, it doesn't have to be perfect. Because I'm gonna cut up, points that I like and stuff like that.
Right.
So everything should just be real flowed. Hold up. Different angle. All right. Okay, here we go. Everything is being caught. All right, we are here today with
Nandy Forbes.
Nandy Forbes. Nandy, I've heard a lot about you. And I heard a lot about you from one of my closest friends,
Right.
Damien.
Good friend of mine.
Yeah, man. I'm really into fashion. And when I see Damien pull off a lot of different pieces,
Right.
and then I ask Damien, where you got that piece from? Your name always pops up.
Right. He's an interesting person to work with because even though I'm a designer and I create a lot of unique pieces, he has ideas that sometimes is just it's out of my wheelhouse, right? And I wouldn't necessarily have thought of a piece like that.
Right.
But when you put our energies together, his creative mind and my skills, that's usually the result.
I think a big part of fashion is creativity.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that the direction that your brand takes has a lot to do with your creativity and your vision?
It absolutely does. The driving force behind my brand itself is definitely the creativity aspect of it, but it's just also skills. It's me being able to develop the skill to create garments that help, translate the talent itself. Because there are many people that are creative and have a good sense of style or fashion itself, but it just doesn't really translate well without a level of gift or just expertise in a way to be able to just produce exactly what you're thinking about,
I heard this quote recently. I don't know if you heard it. I think Pharrell said it. Pharrell said it was about a skill, it's like a skillful mind in business. I think he said it in business. If you have no skill of business, but yet you're skillful,
right?
It's pointless. But if you're business oriented and skillful, it's still pointless. You gotta find a mixture of both ends, and if you don't find it, either you gotta get a person that's skillful and you be the business mind. How does that translate for you?
So for me, and I struggle with that myself because I'm also the business behind
the brand.
Right? And there's the struggle, and there's always been the struggle for me where I get passionate about ideas.
Yeah.
I just want to see a certain project or a certain idea. I want to see it as a designer, but financially, does it always make the best sense for me to go down that route? No, right? So there's always just that dynamic of figuring out the business side, where do I step in and make the decision that even though I'm passionate about a project or passionate about a certain product, it might not be the best move for me to make for the brand or just for the business itself.
Give me an example.
An example might be, for instance, I'm designing a pair of jeans and I set out with a budget for that jean. But the designer in me wants to push it a little bit more. But the cost to push it a bit more in the sense of production, because if I'm producing it and it's not just a one-off piece, then we're talking about a bigger budget. And I might have an idea that sparked just in the middle of production. I didn't see that at first. I have experiences where I might go to a factory to produce a certain piece and they introduce me to like a new technique. Like, hey, look at this thing we've developed in the past. The designer in me is like, wow, like I want to do this. I want to your mind open up now to like a whole new idea that wasn't there before, and it's like, do I satisfy the creative side of me and go with it, or stick to what the original plan was?
I feel like that's a creative thing. That's for I feel like a lot of creators can understand, because everything is an art. So for me, photography, that's like my art. And sometimes people are like, Kev, why does it take so long to edit wedding pictures? And I could just throw these wedding pictures out. It's easy. I could easily throw the wedding pictures out, 1, 2, 3, everything is gonna be fine. But the creator in me, I'll be on one picture for an hour. Trying to critique, trying to like enhance, trying to put this. And all of the things that I'm doing, you probably don't even notice.
Right. So, and then here's the thing. That's the love, and that's the passion for what you do. For me, myself, right? I could create a garment and I could cut corners, right? I could cut corners because it's like, would that individual or would that client know that I didn't go the extra mile?
Correct.
I didn't make that nip or that tuck. They probably wouldn't.
Right.
But the love and the passion that I have for this garment, it just has to be right. I just have to go that extra mile, because guess what? I know that I didn't give it my all.
Correct.
I look, and I'll be honest, there are pieces that I've created where if I had an extra day or an extra hour, I would have tweaked this or I would have changed that. But it worked. It worked. But as a designer, even when you send it out as a creative, even when you get to the point where like, okay, I have to turn this homework in, you're still working on it. Even I'm pretty sure you've maybe sent out some photos or some, and you're like, I could have played with the hue on that a little bit more, or I could have. You're still working on it.
You know what's so funny about throwing out photos?
Right.
Whenever I throw out a photo, it's always the one that I didn't spend the extra effort on that's being posted.
Right.
And
you're like, that's not the one that I want to represent.
Exactly. That's and one of the reasons why I now take my time with each and every photo is because, like, sometimes I'll be at home and my fiance could contest this. Like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and she's like, you're not done yet? I'm like, no, I'm not done. And she's like, you sure you don't want to just like do it tomorrow?
Right.
I want to do it tomorrow. And the good thing is, I feel like for creatives, we have the option sometimes to get it done the next day. And sometimes you don't have somebody to tell you like, yo, I think you need to like chill out and go back to this tomorrow. Because for me with photography, sometimes the colors don't look the same anymore.
Right.
I remember one time I dished out some work at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And the lady hit me up at 7 o'clock the next day, like, Kev, what's this?
AM?
AM. Like, Kev, what's this? And I'm like, what you talking about? She was like, you seen what you sent me? And I was like, let me go look. Bruh, when I'm talking about, I would never in my lifetime push out some work like that And it's because sometimes for me, I have to like chill out. I have to have time to breathe.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes with people, they feel like creativity is just automatic. Is that the same thing with you when it comes to your creativity?
So for me, in this, there's the next struggle. There's the struggle of business and creativity, and then there's also creativity and your day-to-day or my personal life.
Right.
And there's a lot of crossover. It gets murky, it gets blurry, and like during the pandemic and before the pandemic, I was working from home, you
Right.
know, so it's like you take advantage of that. There's no cutoff switch because your tools are home, and you get to think, you know, something sparks in your mind and you're just like, you go for it, right? And then there's just burnout moments. There's periods where like I'll get so lost in the work, and yes, if I didn't have family, I didn't have my daughter to tend to, I didn't have my lady to just give me a look like, are you serious? You know, I would probably get lost for days,
Right,
you know, and not realize like you kind of need to chill out. And yeah, there's fatigue that comes from that sometimes for me, I think, and it's just like a bit of procrastination too. And there's a method. I feel like there's a method that's not understood by whoever is observing it,
Right.
that's closest to you. And I've experienced this where it's just like, oh, you do everything at the last minute. Or why do you wait till the very last moment to do this? And I don't think people realize like there's a mental part of that as well. I'm rehearsing this, you know, and it's just like you're doing a talent show and you spend all week rehearsing the dance and rehearsing the steps. There's a mental part to it too, where I'm sure you're thinking about a photo, like though you're not in front of that computer, it's with you for the whole day, and you're like,
Right.
I want to play with this, I want to shift this around a little bit, and it's with you. So for me, sometimes I feel like I never stop working, or I don't cut it off.
Correct.
And how do you deal with that?
Man, it's funny that you're throwing that question with me, because I was going to throw that right back to you, because I was going to ask you about how do you balance family and work, because for me it's tough, and I don't feel like there's a true balance all the time. I feel like there's going to always be one that overtakes the other, but you have to be careful at the same time. So it's like, listen, I got to get this done, I got to do this, but if you continue down that road, the family going to be gone.
Right.
The time with my newborn is gonna be, she's gonna be 1, 2, 3.
Right.
You know, the time with my lady, she's gonna get bored of it. You know, because everything is cool and everything is nice at the first, but when I feel like how I have done it now is there's certain days that I take to do certain things. So like from Monday to Friday, I try to make sure I get my work done. Monday to Friday, and I'm an electrician,
Right.
9 to 5, and I still do the photography.
Right.
So I gotta make it work. So if I can't get it done Monday to Friday, I already know Saturday and Sunday is my big booking days. If I'm not giving them no time Monday to Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday is my booking days,
Right.
I feel like my family's gonna be miserable. And the best thing, what I do nowadays is I really try to talk to them and try to figure out,
Right.
what do you need right now?
You.
Yeah, like what do you need right now?
They need you.
Exactly. And that's tough though.
Right.
What about you? How you? I feel like that's what it is.
This department for me it's a huge struggle.
Yeah.
And fortunately and unfortunately, this is what I do full time, right? So it gives so for me, it brings me back to like where I don't know when to stop. And I might not stop until I feel like I've created a problem. Not consciously, not purposefully, but you can kind of see like at home, like you're kind of pushing, you know? And when I have to stop because I've pushed it, it's not fun.
Right.
It's not fun because it's not a joyous place. You're only stopping because things look a little too, you know.
Things get a little heated.
Right. It's not because you were so excited or you just couldn't wait to come be with us. It's more like you had to be pushed to the brink.
Correct.
Right? And I try, and just for you, it's just like the nature of your business and your pursuit. It comes alive on the weekend.
Right.
Same with my business. That's when my clients are heading out. That's when events are happening.
Right.
That's when.
I didn't think about that.
Right. So, though I do try to keep some part of the weekends to dedicate to just family and just even some personal time, it's very hard to do. It's very hard to do. And it's not an easy pursuit for a creative.
Man, I feel that if I was to watch this back with the family,
Right.
they'll be like, when you do that, when you take the time out, when do you say it's enough?
Right.
And I honestly feel it's a bigger thing with men.
Right.
And the pursuit I feel it's a bigger pursuit when it comes to men because it could be, I'm just trying to get better for the family, you know? Like, I really want the freedom that comes with the financial freedom, but it's like a pull and tug at the same time.
Well, I've experienced where, because I feel like we're just, as men, we definitely operate, we think different, we imagine different.
Right.
Where I see a miscommunication within my household sometimes where it's just like, you're doing what you want to do.
Right.
And when, you know, the only thought process is like, if I just go hard enough, I just put enough effort and energy into this, it'll change everything. It'll be a game changer, not just for me, but for everyone that I love, right?
Yeah, for everybody.
But from the outside looking in, those aren't the lens, especially with women. That's not the lens that they look at life with, or look at just even your pursuit with. It's just like, hello.
Yeah, like, I need your time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want to give that time, but there's a part of you, or a part of us, if I could just speak for us, there's a part that says, I'm willing to sacrifice some time now to have more time then, when I make things better, when I put things in place where I have more flexibility. But then will we ever have more flexibility? Will we ever have more time? You know, so is it a thing where should we try to discipline ourselves now to create that time? Because when things get better, things get bigger.
Right.
And it gets more demanding.
Right.
So will there ever be a time where you have more time? Or should you discipline yourself now to just create that time? That is so that it's always there.
That's good. That's good. That is good. It's good because while you're talking, I'm thinking about it, and it's just part of life. Like the more you get, the busier you are.
Right.
And there's never gonna, and I feel that as men, there's never gonna be enough. There's never gonna be a time we're gonna be like, all right, enough.
Right.
You know, I feel like there's always going to be another pressure, another obstacle. And honestly, I feel like that's part of life.
Right.
You know, I always feel that with the good times, enjoy it. Enjoy the good times.
Right.
Because there's going to be some bad times. And when there's bad times, just learn how to operate within it. So I feel like that's what you're basically saying. If now I learn how to calculate my time, that I'm able to work within my family and do my business and do my 9 to 5, all this stuff.
Right.
Even though there won't be 100% of satisfaction on my end or on her end, at least we can meet in the middle. And it's going to be at a place that we find understanding.
I didn't say all that.
No.
I don't think you'll be able to.
It's never going to happen.
It's
Never going to happen.
No, it won't. And it's just funny because I feel like the landscape of it's just a thing that I don't know. I don't have the answer.
That's true.
I was hoping maybe you would have some.
No, man.
but
Listen, to be honest, no matter who I talk to, and I think I've been doing this sit down for a few weeks now, but just prior in just conversation, every time being an event photographer, I tend to talk to a lot of husbands.
Right.
And the husbands that I really care about are the husbands that are like telling me the truth.
Right.
Like, Kev, this is what it is. And I respect the truth because I want to know, I see she's happy.
Right.
I see she's, things are going well. What are some things that you do? And the verdict that I've been getting from all husbands so far is you can't operate too much on their emotions. And you can't operate on emotions.
Like, don't feed into it.
Don't, and you know what is so crazy to me? Every time I hear it when I'm in disagreements.
Right.
And it is the hardest to not feed into disagreements with disagreements.
So let me ask you, how are you? Because for me, I feel like I'm called petty because I just feel like, hey,
returning the energy.
wherever you want to go,
I'll take it.
I'm willing to go there.
I'll take it.
And, and I view it sometimes as the creativity that I use with, I'm creative in every way.
I hear you.
So if you want to go there, we can go there, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes a project.
Yeah.
Of seeing who will fold first, and it becomes petty and it's childish. And
It
it's
is.
like,
It is.
But it's just like when you're not understood, and you're not coming from a place where you want to be harmful or hurtful, and you just feel misunderstood.
Right.
It's a bit hurtful. Women think we're selfish,
Right.
and we don't consider them.
Yeah.
And everything we do is just in the pursuit of what we want. And it's hard to convince a lady that is not the case.
Right.
And it's difficult. I don't know where we'll ever meet. I don't know where the compromise will be.
Yeah, you're right.
And you just feel, as I think I feel, that I can figure this out. I feel like the responsibility is on me to figure it out. And it's burdensome at times.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're left in a place where it's just because you're a man, you have this hard shell and we're supposed to have everything figured out.
Yeah.
It just gets lonely and you find yourself sitting with your thoughts, not knowing what to do with them at times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you felt that way.
Of course. I mean, I feel like it's just I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to male and female even down to disagreements and honestly, I feel like sometimes it even boils down to relationship experience.
Right.
I feel that, granted, I'm 34, about to be 35, but I'm not a regular 34-year-old. Like, when I was 21, I got married. I got divorced at 24. Then I had a kid.
Right.
You know, then I had another kid. Like,
Right.
I feel like I have a lot of life
Right.
in this life that I've had, and sometimes it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because I have seen the levels of relationships, and it's funny because I arrived here. I'm still here.
Right.
So it's not like I've had success stories. You know, it's not like I can look at those things and be like, yeah, when I was married, this is what I did to succeed. No, you know,
Does it make you demand more?
from
Do
the
you
relationship.
feel, right, just in the relationship, do you feel like, because your experience is so rich and clearly you're a man that takes things very serious, right?
Right.
Does it make you demand more?
I feel like it makes me less empathetic.
Right. You don't compromise.
I don't think the word to have empathy for someone is hard for me to fully grasp because of the things that I've been through. And I've felt like I've been through this alone.
Right.
So when someone is telling me about the things that they have gone through and it doesn't match up to the things that I went through, it's like, in my head, I'm like, this is chump change. Like, come on.
Right.
You know, like, I've been through the divorce. I've been through trying
So
to,
let me ask you,
you know.
so is your thought process then saying catch up, or is it more like I'll show you the way then? Because I feel like I have a bit more experience. You know, the house to your road might have all these bumps and these rocks and a pothole, and you know how to drive this road. Hey, you follow me. Or is it like I'm just gonna blaze through this and I'll be on the next side and catch up? Let me see what you got. Or do you kind of like lead the way a bit?
You know what? I never actually thought about that, but if my fiance was to tell you, I think it would be like catch up.
Like, yeah, you just sped through it because you know all the bumps and it's just
Yeah,
come on,
catch up. Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
And I feel like that's tough.
Right.
And it's unfair.
Right.
What about you? Where's your road lead you with that?
I feel like I could be a bit of both at times. I think it depends. I think a part of me wants to be the let me show you the way, slow it down and bring you along with me. But then it might not feel respected or valued. So it's just like, well, I'll go on ahead. And if you decide you wanna, you've seen me do it. This is how I did it. You know, if you,
Right.
if this means enough to you, this is how
Follow
I did
through.
it. So come on.
Yeah, follow through.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's. So I feel like it depends because my feelings and my emotions, it goes through seasons.
Yeah. I get it.
I'm never this one guy. I'm never thinking this one way all the time. You know, it's seasonal.
I get it.
It's a spring collection and a fall collection.
I get it. I get it. That makes a lot of sense.
You know?
This is what I want us to do.
Right.
Because I definitely want us to go back over there and see the stuff that's happening.
Absolutely.
If you were to give entrepreneurs advice based on where you have come,
Right.
what would it be?
There's always the need for control because you only trust your vision. But what I would say is, I would just encourage people to don't try to do it alone. doing it alone it makes it harder. It makes it more difficult. And then there's no one to lean on. There's no one for support. But a lot of times we only trust ourselves. And it's very hard to find partnership or to find collaborators that you can trust because you only trust you. You only trust the vision that you have.
Right.
And I feel like you're supposed to have conversations like this. You're supposed to build connections, seek out friendships, look at what people value, and value the person, value people around you, and the people that you value, you'll see traits in them that you could apply in your enterprise and grow and build with people. But you need partnership and you need support, and the pursuit of trying to do it alone and feeling like you're the only one that could move the needle within your own business is flawed.
That's some good advice.
Yeah,
That's some really good advice. I thank you again.
absolutely.
For coming through.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I definitely think that we need to get these conversations more often, and hopefully that later on in life, who knows, we'll look back at this and be like, yo.
Yeah, you got to know people, and I feel like I spend so much time, and I'm glad we got a bit personal.
Yeah.
Because I spend so much time on a daily just talking about business or just talking about what it is that I
Surface
do.
level, yeah.
So just to have a meaningful conversation,
Yeah.
it all helps.
Yeah, right. And it's funny because I'm talking to you and I see this is some real genuine shit. Like that's really what it is. Like a lot of times there be stuff that be happening in our lives and I'm like, yo, am I the only one?
No.
Am I the only one? Like I'll be calling up my boys and sometimes you reach at a level in life that you are doing something, the people in your circle, if they're not doing the same thing, let's say my goal is to get married now.
Right.
I'm already, I already proposed and all this stuff. I hope that the people around me, that's their same goal. So whenever I get into some kind of like mashup and I'm calling up my boys like, yo, do you feel this way? And they're like, bro, I'm not even on that level. Like, what are you talking
Dude,
about?
I'm not.
Yeah, like, whoa. I would have been going, like, stuff like that.
Right.
But to hear somebody that is in a relationship and, has a kid, and just to hear like a mindset, like, yeah, like, this is tough for me too.
It's a compromise.
Yeah.
It's and when it means something to you, because clearly your family and your relationship means a lot to you.
Correct.
So you're willing to fight. This is just a fight. Just like you're fighting for your dreams and you're fighting to achieve your goals.
Correct.
You're fighting for that as well. And everything will work itself out when it comes from a good place, I think.
Absolutely. Let's wrap this up. Let's go over there. Let's see if we can get something to eat.
Absolutely, man. Let's do that.
Boss, let me get you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
This belongs to you, right?
Huh?